Well, I got asked this question the other day, so I'm going to cover this now. So if you're a plasterer, this is a top tip, and one I think that should be used a lot more. It's not used, it should be used a lot more. And there's a lot of these housing examiners now going around picking fault with the plasterer's work, and it can be avoided. You can avoid this now. I've plastered this room before. I don't know whether you're going to see. This is the outside wall that's moving, and you can just see the cracks that's coming here, and they're even worse in the room upstairs. This wall is literally doing that because there's too much weight on the roof. They've done the roof now, but I don't know whether that's settlement now or whether it's still, they reckon it's moved 10 mil, I don't know. So here are, so they've fitted a new door, a new window, and they fitted it and they put the plastic trim on it. Absolutely hate this stuff with a passion. It looks cheap, tacky, nasty. Now, if they don't put what they do, they put this over because it cracks down the line of the door, all the way down the line of the door. I'll give you an example of that. I've plastered all this. Now on this window frame, we're closing on that, you can see how this is cracked down here against the window, because I've removed the plastic trim and did it, thinking I'd get away with it, and I hadn't got away with it. Now, and all the way, when you're opening and shutting your windows or anywhere there's movement, you're going to get that. You're going to get it. How do you get rid of it? How do you stop it? You can stop it. And the lad says to me, you can't. Well, you can. Let me explain. I explained it to him. Now this reveal, this is another thing they're picking these plasterers up on. They're putting these plasterers on price work, and I don't believe they should be put on price work. That's my opinion. Now this reveal, again, what they're picking people up on, they're not putting the reveals in on a 45. They're kicking them back, they're kicking them in, they're kicking them all over the place. What I've done with this one is, this was miles out. The header was so high up you could see this extension, what they put in above the frame. I've dropped the top by about 2 inches. I can't go any more because of that vent, just to make it more symmetrical. And I've packed the sides out, I've double boarded the sides. So what I've done is, I put my first piece of plasterboard on. Bear in mind it was out, it was kicking at sort of that angle. And I brought my first piece of plasterboard in. And then I've overboarded it. Now, before I overboarded, I sealed the first piece of plasterboard all the way down the edge and then overboarded it. You're not going to get no draft and nothing, no muck, no nothing coming through. You get a lot of soot come through if you're not careful. Now, what I tend to do, I've not done it with this one because I'm not getting any movement on this. I might live to regret that. But what I tend to do is, you see how you put an angle bead on this end to skim up to your angle bead? What you can do on this, wherever it hits a door, or wherever it hits a window, or wherever there's movement, it could be against an oak beam, anything like decorative like that. You know, like you get some people who have oak beams and then they plaster right up to the beam and then it's drying, it's moving, it's cracking down. What I would tend to do now, if this was a moving one, I'm cracked on here like I was on the landing, which I'm going to do next door because that's a moving window, a moving building. It expands and contracts a lot. I would leave that plasterboard, this piece of plasterboard that I put in, I would leave that piece of plasterboard 5 mil away from the window edge and give myself a nice plumb line running all the way down. Now then what I would do is I would put another handle bead, another skim bead in on that edge, okay? And that then gives you a clean handle to work to. You've got 2 angles then to work to, but then you'll have an existing gap behind there of probably around about 2 mil, which is nothing. So if it does move, you're opening and closing it, you're not damaging your plaster. You've got a nice clean angled edge all the way around your window. And if you're a little bit conscious about that, you could always seal it with some silicone before and then put your angle bead on. The beauty of that is, One, you're not going to get your cracking. And two, you've got just enough room to slide some cardboard down that edge for when you're decorating your reveals. It keeps the paint off there. So, and it's a nice cleaner looking edge, looks more professional, you don't get no cracks, and that's how I do it. So there you go.